Hey, what's up guys? Isaac here, and in this video we're going to compare some ultralight headlamp options. We're going to look at 9 different options of ultralight headlamps that are available on the market today, and then at the end I'm going to show you guys how to make one of these. It's a shock cord mod headlamp using the Nitecore Tube. And from all the research I did on the internet, this is, as far as I could tell, the lightest headlamp available on the market today. Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about 9 different headlamp options. The first 6 are going to have rechargeable batteries, and the last 3 are going to have traditional batteries that you just replace. I'm not going to get into the weeds with every single model. I just want to do a quick run through and highlight some of the key stats for each model so that you guys can help decide what headlamp is best for your needs. So we'll start with just this basic model headlamp that I have. This is a Mergergo rechargeable battery headlamp. It's about $16 off of Amazon. It weighs 2.7 ounces, and this is just a great all-around basic headlamp. It has a low white light setting that lasts 25 hours, and it has a high white light setting that lasts 4 hours that puts out 160 lumens. It also has a red light setting that lasts 30 hours, and it has red and white strobe settings as well. This headlamp, it's great for car camping. It's just kind of a simple, cheap, easy, all-around headlamp. It has one button that controls the white lights, one button that controls the red lights. Even though I was looking for a lighter headlamp to take backpacking, I still love this headlamp, and I take it with me when I go car camping, or just a great headlamp to have around the house. So there's literally hundreds of headlamp models that are available on the market today. But when I started looking for lighter headlamps, there were kind of a handful that stuck out to me. But when I thought about replacing this headlamp, I really wanted to get something that was ultralight, or something that could help me get my base weight down. And there's probably a handful of models that you guys are familiar with. The next 2 headlamp models that we're going to compare that I want to talk about together are the NU20 and the NU25, both from Nitecore. The NU20 costs $30. It weighs 1.66 ounces. And if you do a shock cord mod for that one, you can get it down to right about 1 ounce. It has a low white light setting that lasts 100 hours and puts out 1 lumen. And then it has a medium and a high setting and a turbo setting that lasts 30 minutes at 360 lumens. This one does not have a red light, but it does have a physical plastic tab that locks out the buttons to prevent accidental turn-ons in your pack. The NU25 is a little bit of a more full-featured headlamp. It costs $37. It weighs 1.85 ounces out of the box. If you do the shock cord mod, you can also get this one down to right about 1 ounce. It has a low white setting that lasts 160 hours at 1 lumen, all the way up to the same turbo setting that lasts 30 minutes at 360 lumens. The NU25 has 2 red light options as well. The low red light lasts 68 hours and puts out 0.9 lumens, and the high red light lasts 7.75 hours at 13 lumens. This one has a red and a white strobe feature. Both of the Nitecore options have a long-lasting battery at low settings, and I really thought about getting both of these before I ultimately went with the thumb model. If you get the NU25 model and do the shock cord mod, in my opinion, that headlamp has the most features for the weight. So if you want a full-featured headlamp that's still ultralight, I think the NU25 is a good option. The NU20 is also a good option. It's very simple, 1-button operation. So if you want something that's simple, easy to use, the NU20 might be a good option for you. Another popular ultralight headlamp that you've probably heard of is the Yuko Air 150. This one is $29. Out of the box, it weighs 1.6 ounces, and you can get it down to about 1 ounce with a shock cord mod as well. On the low setting, the Yuko Air 150 will last about 5 hours. All the way up to the high setting, it'll last 48 minutes at 150 lumens. So as you can see, the battery life isn't that great, and that was kind of one of the things that turned me off to it a little bit. One of the unique features of it is it has an infinity dial. So you turn the light on by twisting the frame around the bulb. That makes it really easy to use, and if that's a feature you would like, this is the only option that has that feature that I could tell. So if you think the infinity dial sounds cool to you, that might be a good headlamp for you. The fifth option is the most expensive on our list. It's the Petzl Bendy. It costs $45. It's also rechargeable. It weighs 1.2 ounces out of the box. It already has a shock cord style headband on it. So you wouldn't need to modify this one to bring the weight down. The Bendy has a low white setting that lasts 50 hours at 6 lumens. It has a medium setting, and then a high setting lasts 2 hours at 200 lumens. It has a low red setting that lasts 33 hours at 1 lumens, and it has a red strobe feature. One of the things that stood out to me about the Bendy is that its low setting at 6 lumens is brighter than the low setting of any of the other options. What I'm not sure about is whether that low setting of 6 lumens would actually be bright enough for night hiking. Some of the other options that have a low setting of around 1 lumen, some of the Nitecore options, I don't know if 1 lumen would necessarily be bright enough to do any significant night hiking. Personally, I'm not planning on getting into a lot of night hiking. I like to hike during the day so you can kind of see the scenery around you. But if you're the type of person who does plan on night hiking, the Bendy might be a good option for you. If you want something that's super lightweight out of the box without having to modify it at all, the Bendy might also be a good one to look at. And then the sixth rechargeable option is this Nitecore Tube. Out of the box, this only weighs 0.34 ounces. And when you add the shock cord to it, it brings it up to 0.4 ounces or 11 grams. I am pretty sure that this is the lightest headlamp option that you can buy today. If you know of a headlamp option that's lighter than 11 grams, please let me know or comment below. But the stats on this one, the low white setting lasts 58 hours at 1 lumen. And then the high white setting lasts 1 hour and 15 minutes at 55 lumens. So there's no red light on this one. It's really just a super basic headlamp. It has one button. You press it once for the low setting, twice for the high setting. Couldn't get much simpler than that. I'm not planning on doing a lot of night hiking, so I really only need this for walking around the campsite at night. Or digging in my bag for something during the night. So 1 lumen is plenty bright for what I need. And if it lasts 58 hours on 1 lumen, that's more than enough to get me through a weekend trip or a longer section hike without having to recharge it at all, hopefully. And if I did have to recharge it, it wouldn't take as much battery power from my power bank as one of the larger headlamps. So that would leave me more power for more important stuff like my phone. I'm going to show you guys how I did this shock cord mod, but first I want to talk about the 3 battery powered options. The first battery powered option is this Neutron Fire. It costs $39 and it runs off 2 AAA batteries. And according to the manufacturer, those 2 batteries will last about 30 plus hours. It has a low white setting that puts out 25 lumens. It has a couple intermediate settings, and then the highest setting puts out 115 lumens. The unique thing about this headlamp is that it has red, green, and blue side LEDs. In addition to this spotlight, it has these side lights that put out red, green, and blue lights. This weighs 2 ounces, so it's not quite as light as some of the other ones, but it's specifically designed for running. My wife loves this one, and she uses it for running, backpacking, camping, everything. Personally, I'm more of a fan of the rechargeable options, but this one is still worth considering. I think this could be good in situations where you know you're going to be on a road for a long time and there will be a lot of car traffic, and so you want to turn on one of those multicolored strobes for safety purposes. But if you're going to be backpacking through mostly wilderness areas, I don't know why you would necessarily need the multicolored strobe lights. But that's just me. The second battery powered option is the Petzl E Lite, and you might have heard of this one. It costs $30. It runs off 2 CR2032 batteries, which are those flat, round batteries. It only weighs 0.9 ounces out of the box, so it is lighter than a lot of the rechargeable options out there, except for this Nitecore Tube option. The standard white light setting lasts 11.5 hours and puts out 13 lumens. And the high white light setting lasts 3 hours at 30 lumens. It also has a red light setting, 15 hours at 2 lumens, and it has a red and white strobe setting. The unique thing about this headlamp is that it has a 10-year drain, according to the manufacturer. So you can put it in storage, put it in a drawer somewhere, and supposedly it'll last 10 years without the batteries draining on their own. So in my opinion, this would be a good option for an emergency storage headlamp. So if you're looking for a headlamp that you can put in your car for emergencies, or if you want to put it in a go bag and forget about it, this might be a good option for you. If you know you're not going to be using it that often, but you want something extra on standby to have just in case, this could be a good option. Another thing I noticed about this one is that the standard setting of 13 lumens lasts 11.5 hours. So if you knew you were going to do some night hiking, putting it on that standard setting, one set of batteries should get you through an entire night of night hiking. If you were doing something crazy like going for 24 hours nonstop on a through hike. And then the last option we're going to talk about is this Ozark Trail Mini. It is $1. And it also runs on 2 of those CR2032 batteries. It also weighs 0.9 ounces right out of the box. These are only available in stores at Walmart. And I kind of just stumbled across these. I noticed how small they looked, and I figured I would buy a couple for my kids and take it home and weigh them. And they only weighed 0.9 ounces, so I was kind of surprised by that. It has one setting. It lasts 4 hours at 20 lumens. This is a great super budget option for ultralight headlamps. It's also a great one-time option. So if a friend invited you camping and you don't have any gear, this is a ultra cheap option that you can just pick up at Walmart on your way out. It's also a great option for kids. I bought one of these for each of my kids on our last camping trip, and they got a kick out of them. They like having their own headlamp, and it's so cheap that it's not a big deal if they lose it or if it gets broken. Only $1. Tough to go wrong with that. That wraps it up for the comparison part of this video. Hopefully, maybe there were some options in there that you hadn't considered. Hopefully there's an option in there that you can find that would work for your specific needs. Now I'm going to get back to talking about this Nitecore Tube shock cord mod that I made. I started with this just kind of standard headlamp, and I wanted a lighter option, and after looking at all the stuff available on the market today, I decided to just skip all those other ultralight options and go straight down to the very lightest option I could find. And this is specifically for backpacking. So not necessarily going to take this when I go car camping, but if I'm going backpacking where I know I'm going to be doing a lot of hiking, this is part of my backpacking gear. I got the idea for this from someone on Reddit. I was looking at the ultralight forum on Reddit, and I was looking at someone's lighter pack, and I saw a picture of this. And I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then I did all the research and figured out how much it actually weighed, and just thought it was a neat idea and something I just kind of wanted to try. It's just kind of a fun project. I went back and tried to find that lighter pack profile, but I couldn't find it. So if you're on that ultralight forum and you had a picture of this in your lighter pack, thank you for the inspiration and thanks for giving me the idea to do one of these. I couldn't find a video of how to do one of these, so I kind of figured it out and then decided to make a video to show other people how to do it. You only need 3 things to do this mod. You need the Nitecore Tube itself. You can get it on Amazon or you can get it on lightsmith.com. That's where I got it from. And then this shock cord that I used, you can use any kind of shock cord, but it's 1.6 millimeter or 1/16 of an inch reflective shock cord from lightsmith.com. It's really affordable. It's something like 22 cents a foot, so not expensive at all. And then I got one of these mini line locks, also from lightsmith.com. If you didn't want to use the line lock, you could also just use some slip knots, but I chose to go with the line lock. I thought it would be a little more secure than a slip knot, and these are also less than 50 cents a piece off Lightsmith. So the thumb lamp itself costs about $10, and then this stuff costs another couple bucks. So you can still do this mod for under 15 bucks. So I actually got the supplies to make a second one. I'm going to set this one aside and start making a new one. So the first step is to cut a length of shock cord that'll wrap all the way around your head. I think I bought like 20 feet of shock cord just because I wanted to have some extra to do little projects with. All right, so now that you've got a piece of cord that you know is long enough to fit around your head, you're going to take the light itself and we're going to tie it to this little metal loop on the end here. And you want to position it about halfway on your cord. And then you're going to want to tie a square knot to keep it in place at that loop. Next, you're going to cut a smaller piece of cord to tie around this point right here. So you're going to secure the thumb light to the piece of cord right here. And you want to give yourself plenty of extra cord to work with. So I'm going to cut some extra here. First, I'm going to tie a knot securing the cord to the main band. Then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to tie another square knot on the top here. And I'm going to make sure that this stays centered underneath. And now all the big steps are done. You just have to clean up the ends and put on the line lock. So I'm going to trim the ends here. And I'm going to use a lighter to melt these ends so that they don't fray too badly. And I'm going to stretch the cord away from the headlamp while I use the flame. Now for these ends here, I'm going to pass them through the line lock. And then I'm going to tie a figure-8 knot in each of these loose ends to help prevent the line lock from slipping off. So now you can see how those knots prevent the line lock from slipping off accidentally. Then I'm going to trim off these ends. And melt them with the lighter. And that's it. Literally only took about 5 minutes. Here's what it looks like when it's all done. So as you can see, I kind of positioned it forward on my head because you want the light to spread out in front of you. If you try and put it on the side of your head, your forehead is going to kind of block the light from getting to your left side. So you want to actually scoot it around until it's pretty close to the front of your head. and then you'll actually be able to see the light on the ground in front of you. If you're really trying to save weight and you want to try to get the absolute lightest possible gear that's still functional, from what I can tell, this really is the lightest option. So anyways, I hope this video gave you some different options to think about. If you own any of the headlamps that we talked about in this video and you either like it or you don't like it, please feel free to post some comments about what model worked for you or didn't work for you and why. But other than that, thanks for watching and happy trails.